Welcome to This Week in Jacksonville Business Edition. I'm Kent Justice. Our podcast, as you know, we focus on economic development of the River City throughout our region. Steve Gilbert is our guest today, President and Chief Executive Officer of Beaches Habitat for Humanity. And so here's the connection to a local nonprofit and the subject of our show every week. Steve, this is really cool. You're hosting the annual CEO Build. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, Kent, thank you. Thanks for having us. It's the 5th annual Beaches Habitat CEO Build. It looks a little different this year than the past 4 years, and that it'll look like in the next 6 years. We're doing a home rebuild. We have about 35 CEOs that are coming in from big corporate companies, some CFOs and some C-suite individuals to come in and spend a half a day with us and build a home. And it's a great networking opportunity for these individuals. We have breakfast for them in the morning. They pound a few nails, they paint some side of a house, and then we got lunch for them. It's about a half a day that they're there. But it's a great way to get the community and companies involved with the great work that our staff is doing and has been doing for the last 30 years. So we're really excited. This Friday, we kick it off, and I think the weather's going to be great, which is always a plus.
Yeah, if you'd waited a month, it'd be, oh my, yeah. Work it. But tell us a little bit about more about the work. It seems like what you just described, multiple purposes in the CEO Build, and whether it's the half day or longer. Because, yeah, I understand that kind of networking component, but this is making a difference for at least one family at a time, right?
It really is, Kent. You know, Habitat for Humanity is a international organization built on helping families, working with families to move into affordable homes. We have a new housing project that we're getting ready to start that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But we don't break ground on that until June 22nd. So we went out and identified a homeowner up in our service area, up at the beaches, that is a veteran. He's a 20-year Army veteran who needs some work done to his home. So these CEOs, CFOs, COOs will come in and really improve his home. He needs a lot of work, exterior work. So they'll come in and they support that work. Certainly it's a fundraiser for us. It's one of our 2 big fundraising events that we do at Beaches Habitat. We'll raise some money which will support the project. But these companies feel really good about helping the economy up in the beaches area. They feel really good about networking with other C-suite individuals to get involved. We've got CEOs that have been doing this each of the last 5 years. And then we've got new CEOs this year that have come on board that will also support this project. So we're really excited about it. Our staff has done a great job of putting this together and looking forward to it on Friday.
Steve Gilbert, give me the pitch. If I'm a CEO and you say, hey, I want you to be involved in this, what are the compelling motivators for these C-suite folks to get involved?
Right, yeah, we've got several sponsorship levels, and you know, we're no different than any other nonprofit. We've got to raise money to do the great work that our staff does. So depending on what sponsorship level you are, you'll get a team build. So many of these companies reach out to us almost daily and say, hey, I'd like to do something for our team. I'd like to come out and make a difference. Yeah. Take a half a day, work with our staff, either build a home, repair a home, work with a senior, work with a veteran, and then maybe take our team, our staff out to lunch afterwards. So corporate CEOs do this all the time. And it's an opportunity for them to have that project after the CEO build. So they can set it up anytime. You know, June, July, and August, we tend to be fly under the radar a little bit. But I tell you, once the fall starts up, we have a lot of companies that reach out to us and say, hey, we'd like to get involved. We know you're doing great work. I'd like 12 or 15 of my staff to come out there on a Friday and build and do that. So depending on what sponsorship level, that's a part of it. Certainly they're on media. At the end of the build every year, we do a full-page ad in the Jacksonville Business Journal where their companies are highlighted and their logos are in there. So the community knows that the companies are giving back and making a difference, and Habitat is one of those areas that they can give back.
So some high visibility for your business there, and it sounds like that employee engagement and even some team building that happens through that.
Absolutely, and I'm not great. I barely punch a hammer on a nail, and a lot of the CEOs are the same way. So you
just
come
miss
out,
your thumb when you're doing that.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
You come out and you learn a trade. We've got an unbelievable full-time construction team out there. We've got all the tools. We've got all the teaching that folks need to make a difference. Although I tell you, we've got some CEOs that have been doing this a while that are very good with a hammer, very good with a saw, wet saws. So it really varies, but it's a great way to learn skills as well, home building skills.
Beaches Habitat for Humanity just named one of the 15 great Jacksonville nonprofits driving community transformation. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
What does that mean? And maybe connect that to the impact a nonprofit can make in the livability of our region and our communities.
Right, yeah, we just found that out yesterday. There's a nonprofit organization based in Austin, Texas, and they take all the major cities across the country and identify 15 nonprofits that are really transformational. And if you look at the list of the other 14, we're just honored to be a part of that, because there's some great nonprofits in this community that are doing unbelievable work. But I think Habitat, the brand of Habitat, affordable housing has been in the news certainly the last year, 2 years. We know in Jacksonville that's a challenge for us, and it's certainly a challenge in the Beaches community. So to be honored as one of the top 15 Jacksonville transformational nonprofits is certainly an honor, and it goes to speak to the great work that our staff does each and every day.
Steve, if you'd talk to us a little bit about maybe the differences. You mentioned, Habitat for Humanity is an international organization, but even here in Northeast Florida, I think a lot of people would hear Habitat, oh, it's Habijax. And you guys are different. Tell us about where you serve, and is there any kind of partnership, or are you in competition with Habijax? How does that work?
Absolutely. We are definitely not in competition. Habijax is a fantastic organization based here in Jacksonville, downtown Jacksonville. They service the north side and the west side, and we're at the beach, all three, Atlantic, Jacksonville, and Neptune Beach. We've built 357 homes in our 30 years at the beach. However, our service area is across the Intercoastal all the way to the St. John's Bluff Road. So the future of Beaches Habitat, because of the cost of the land at the beach, there's not much land left, is really to explore what parcels are across the Intercoastal that we can build affordable, safe, affordable homes on. But there's a Habitat affiliate in Nassau County, in St. Johns County, in Clay County, everybody doing great work. Some habitats are bigger than others. Our goal is to build 8 homes a year. Habijax is building a lot more homes than that a year. But each of us are making a difference in the communities that we serve.
Well, you just mentioned how many homes, and when I read some of the material that you sent me, so some 400 families in your time have been helped out by what you do, is that right?
Right, and we've built 357 new homes in our 30 years, but we're also very involved with our repair program. We really identify seniors and veterans in our service area that need home repairs. We've been very fortunate to get grants from Home Depot and the ViStar Credit Union to find veterans that need some work done on their homes. We just finished a home for a 20-year Vietnam veteran up in the Atlantic Beach area that we pretty much gave him a whole brand new home. And ViStar Credit Union helped to sponsor that home. Because of where we're located, we're so close to NAS Mayport. Yeah. The service to serve the veterans is something that we feel really strongly in. So we're going to continue to build new homes, but we're also very passionate about our home repair project as well.
Well, Steve Gilbert, there's a reason that veterans serve in Jacksonville and say, I'm going to stay in Jacksonville. And that's certainly one of the components, is that so many different organizations say, hey, we're going to make sure that we're attending to the needs, even the desires of military and their families. Let me ask this, how does providing a home affect our region? I guess more to the point, some economic growth in our region.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, you know, affordable housing has been in the news a lot here in the Northeast Florida area. We don't have as many affordable homes as we need. For us at the beach, we have so many families that have grown up at the beach. Their grandparents live there, their parents live there, and then the kids can't afford to live there, even though they grew up, maybe went to Fletcher High School.
Right.
They can't afford to live at the beach, so they've got to relocate to other parts of Jacksonville. And that's a shame. You know, we really want to make our area very, very affordable for the families that want to live and work at the beach. The service industry is really big at the beach. You know, we've got the restaurants and shops and places that they come and work. It's not fair to ask employees to live on the west side or the north side and drive all the way to the beach to be a part of working in the beach's community. So we're in our way, we're trying to make a difference in those employees and to get them to have a safe, affordable home.
Yeah, it's a great point, and something that we talk about when we talk about affordable housing. You see what's happening in St. Johns County, where the cost of living is much higher than is reasonable for the folks who are in the service industry and all of that. So it certainly makes sense. Tell us about this cool project that I see is coming up here. You shared with me the site plan for the 44-home development on Mayport Road, and you just talked about groundbreaking coming up next month.
Yeah, we're so excited about that. On Saturday, June 22nd at 9 a.m., we're going to put shovels on the ground for a brand new 44-home development on Mayport Road, just north of the Autoline car dealership, south of the Cove apartment complex. The previous CEO, Curtis Ford, who's now mayor of Atlantic Beach, retired, and he had bought 3 acres of land. And then shortly after I replaced Curtis, I bought the last acre of land. So we've got 4 acres together that we're going to start building 44 homes, 11 quads. There'll be about 1,200 square feet, 3 twos. We'll start taking applications sometime in June for families to apply for those homes. We're very excited about it. It'll be probably about a 6-year project. We'll try to build about 8 homes per year once we start. And the way we do it is we'll build 1 quad. And then even as that first quad is not quite completed, we'll start the second group of 4 homes. So the homes will be in various stages as we go through that 6 years. But we can't wait. It's been a long time process. I'm not the most patient guy in the world, and I've discovered that in construction and permitting and getting things in line, working with civil engineers and architects, it takes a while. But we can't wait till June 22nd and then start taking volunteers probably in late summer, early fall to help us build this new development in the beaches area.
So the motivation for me talking with you this week is because of the CEO build, but I want to know more about how people contribute here. And what is the process? Because I think in previous times when I've done stories about Habitat for Humanity, there's been, hey, a new homeowner is going to put in some sweat equity as well. How does the process work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the model for Habitat International is 300 hours of sweat equity. And quite honestly, that's how I got hooked into the mission of Habitat. Volunteering with Habijacks over the years and seeing the homeowners and how emotional they were about all these volunteers coming out on a Saturday to work and build their home. That's what hooked me. And if I ever had the opportunity to work at Habitat, I was going to jump on that. But the homeowners go through financial literacy classes. They're involved with building their home and typically their neighbor's home as well. So they bond with their neighbor through that 300 hours of sweat equity. And then we've got so many great volunteers. We're blessed at Beaches Habitat to have construction volunteers that come out weekly and build and volunteer their time, and they become friends outside of the build. And then our board of directors. We've got an unbelievable board of directors that's passionate about raising money and making a difference in the beaches community too. So it all comes together. You know, like all nonprofits, there's challenges. But you know, you mentioned earlier about the other habitats that are in this Northeast Florida. We're not competing with each other. We all know that what we're doing at the end of the day is increasing the number of homes that families can move into.
Yeah, and I think there's probably that impact, we talked about livability earlier, that impact on the communities that say, I'm proud to be here. I love what you just said about, yeah, that sweat equity. I'm helping build my neighbor's home as well. I think many of us can probably relate to, boy, when you don't have a good neighbor, it's not that great. And when you've invested in your neighbor's life like that, that has to create some pretty good relationships.
We just finished 3 brand new homes up in the Mayport Village area. They're in a flood zone, so we built them on stilts. We've never designed a home like that. But all 3 of those homeowners have worked together. They're all living next to each other now, but they've known each other since we put shovels in the ground on the first home. They've come up and they know their families. They respect the work that they've done to build their home and in many cases their neighbor's home. So it makes for a good community. It really does. And you know, the Habitat model, Habitat International, this kind of work is being done all over the world. So it's not like we're reinventing the wheel here at the beach. Working together with families, working together is a way that you can really build communities.
Maybe we wrap up here, but you mentioned that one of the projects, hey, ViStar came in and is helping on this. What are the connections with maybe even other developers in town, and how can they participate, or do you already have some of those relationships that are bearing fruit?
Yeah, really good question. I think as I mentioned earlier, the future for beaches habitat is to really look for land still in our service area, but across the intercoastal. Everything we've done right now has been at the beach. So we are really trying to identify builders, home developers that are going to partner with Habitat and nonprofits. They're doing this all across the country. Habitats are working with big developers so that if somebody comes in and builds 200, 150 homes, part of those homes will be set aside for affordable living and partnering with Habitats. There's tax benefits to those companies to partner with Habitat. And I think that's the model that we're going to look at moving forward. And we've got our board, we've got real estate agents, we've got developers that are kind of looking to do those kinds of things in the next 5 to 10 years. And I think that's really the future for our organization.
Well, it's pretty cool. So our podcast coming out on a Thursday. The next day is when the CEO build is, but obviously lots of opportunities for people to get involved. Steve Gilbert, CEO and president of Beaches Habitat. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks for having us.
And we're constantly working to bring you more interviews like this, focused on economic growth in our region. You're going to find more episodes right now, including on News4JAX Plus. Thanks for joining us for This Week in Jacksonville Business Edition.